as sugar went away, the weight just kind of like fell off and stuff. I didn't have to do anything. I walk dogs. I walk my dog up a hill, and it's not very far. It's like a mile and a half up and down and shit. That's the only exercise I get. I do it in the neighborhood. Jason Mewes lives down the street from me. We didn't buy houses near each other, but he bought his house in my fucking neighborhood and shit. Every time we drive past, my kid's like, "Oh, it's so cute that you live near your best friend." I was like, "He lives near me." Anyway, Jason comes over sometimes. We walk the dogs together up the hill and stuff like that. And periodically, people drive through the hills and they're like, "Jane, Silent Bob walk dogs." So just dropping sugar and fucking walking the dogs like really made a difference, and like the weight kind of fell off. And at one point, like my underwear started sagging because I used to wear very big underwear, like fucking 5XL underwear or something like that. So that shit started sagging because the weight kind of went away. And my wife finally took notice of it and was like, "This is fucking shameful." She's like, "They just keep falling off your body and what we're seeing isn't any better, you know?" So she's like, "You gotta go fucking get some new underwear and stuff. And if you're gonna do it, don't buy fucking maroon underwear." That's what I would wear all the time. I had this maroon underwear, because I usually just get my shit at a fat guy store, and they don't give you a lot of fucking choices. Now they do. Now they put on like, "Hey, there's a Batman shirt for you, fat guy." But generally speaking, back in the day, it was like big dog and shit like that. Very generic, but very I am overweight. So I would get my underwear at the fat guy store and shit, and they didn't have much of a selection. It was always like tighty whities. That's what I wear and stuff. I don't wear the crime fighters, Jason calls them. I don't wear boxers, just those tighty whities. And so one time I went into the fucking fat guy store, and they had next to the tighty whities the most beautiful thing I'd ever seen. Underwear that was colored, and it was maroon. And I was like, "Oh my God, I'm gonna look like Superman wearing this shit," you know? So I took it home, and it was a 3-pack and shit. And I showed my wife. I was like, "Look, man." I was like, "You'd say I never change anything and shit, but I went and bought new underwear." And she goes, "Maroon?" And I was like, "Yeah." And she goes, "Why?" And I was like, "I'm expressing my individuality, you know?" And she goes, "Oh my God, take these back." And I was like, "Fucking why?" And she was like, "Maroon underwear, Kevin, I get a vote in this. I'm the only one that sees your fucking underwear, you know?" And I was like, "All right." And so I went back to the fat guy store. I bought 12 more pair. Fuck her. So. And every time we would get intimate and shit, she'd like open up my jorts and be like, "Ugh, maroon," you know? It was a hurdle to get through and shit. So she was saying, "If you're gonna get new underwear, don't fucking get maroon." I was like, "Maroon forever!" So I was out on the road. Where was I? I was in Kansas City. And so I had a little time down between gigs and whatnot. So I was like, "I'm gonna go out shopping." And I asked them at the front desk, I was like, "Hey man, where do you got like the fat guy store?" And they're like, "Oh, you wanna go to the low-end strip mall?" And I was like, "Brother, I live at the low-end strip mall, man." I said, "Where is it?" And he fucking showed me where it was and stuff. So I got in a Uber, and I took a car there. I walked in, and I was looking for my maroons, and I found them. I didn't have to get 5XL underwear. I was happy to announce that I had to get just 1XL underwear and shit. I'd shifted down a little bit. Thank you. Some people clapping, some people are like, "Bro, you shouldn't even be 1XL. So, I was looking for my fucking maroon underpants in the 1XL section, and then I saw the most beautiful thing I'd ever seen in a fat guy store, a pair of black underwear. And I was like, "Oh, I'm gonna look like Batman," and so I bought it, and I took it back to the hotel room and stuff like that. I was happy with my fucking purchase. And so, I thought of my wife, and I was just like, "Oh, fuck, I'm gonna tell her." And I said, "Hey, man, guess what I did today?" I was texting her, and she was like, "What?" And I was like, "I went underwear shopping." And she goes, "Oh, great, more maroon." And I said, "No, not maroon." And she goes, "What color?" And I wrote, "Black." A lot of exclamation points and stuff, and she sent emojis of surprise. And she goes, "Send me a picture." And so I saw my opening. So I was like, "You send me a picture, man." And she was like, "What of?" And I was like, "You know." And she was like, "You fucking pig." But we've been married for a while, so fucking 3 minutes later, a picture came through and shit like that. And so it was an angle of my wife's vagina. And this is weird to say because, again, we've been together 20 years and we've had fucking sex any way you can have sex. But it was an angle of her vagina that I'd never seen before. And I was like, "Oh my God, it's like a stranger's pussy, And So instantly I forgot the conversation, took it right to the sink and started tugging one out, looking right at it. So I got finished and then I wanted to get in the shower because I was sticky. And so I fucking, I got in the shower and stuff like that. Before I had left though, I fucking sent her the picture, man. I took a picture and shit, and it was of the underwear. I took my black underwear out of a pack. I laid them out on the fucking blanket. There's like a white blanket on the bed, so it really popped hard and shit. And so I took a picture and I texted it to her and stuff as the shower was warming up. And she wrote back, "Oh my God," you know, and I wrote back, "Yes, bitch." I said, "Don't this make you wet, motherfucker?" And I fucking hit send and shit like that, man. And I hadn't fucking realized that my wife was not the last person that had sent me a text. While I was in the shower, somebody else had texted me and broken the conversation with me and my wife, and fucking the very shocked recipient of my underwear text sent back a one-word response, "Dad?" So some shit goes well beyond a response text, you know. I immediately fucking called her up and I was like, "Oh my God, kiddo, you know that fucking text was not meant for you. It was meant for your mother. And by the way, no man should ever talk to a lady like that." I just got back from Vancouver. I was up in Vancouver. I directed my 3rd episode of The Flash. It was fun. It was awesome, man. I go up there, like, you know, in TV, they don't really need a director in episodic TV. Cast and crew make that show every week. If you ever look at the credits for your favorite shows, the director's the only name that really changes and stuff. That's how fucking replaceable that a director really is. So it's weird. When I show up, I find myself at a loss. It's not like when I direct a movie, I'm involved in every aspect. But on TV, I'm not really. I'm kind of a bystander who gets to say action and cut. But as a fan of the show, it's fun because you get to watch that shit get made. So it always feels like when I go up there that I'm not so much the director of the episode as a Make-A-Wish kid that gets to... that gets to go to the offices and shit, and I sit in on all the big meetings and stuff like that, and I watch like very talented people who do this every fucking week, sit around, talk to each other, how they're gonna plan this shit, how we're gonna make her fly, how we're gonna do this shit and whatnot. And then periodically they remember I'm there and they look over at me and they go, "What do you think, Kev?" I'm like, "I think that sounds awesome." You know? And they're like, "Okay, big guy," you know. And they go back to making the fucking show and stuff like that. So it's been nice. It's been a nice thing to do, to go up there. As a fan of the show, I get to watch stuff get done. Jason Mewes, the guy who I stand next to professionally and personally for the last 30 fucking years and stuff, is the biggest CW fan on the planet. Like, basically the demographic, I think, is 12-year-old girls and Jason Mewes. He loves all of those fucking shows, man. He goes deep on them. He's always loved, like, you know, preteen or fucking youth dramas with heroic action in them and shit like that. Like, he loves all the fucking CW shit, Supernatural and stuff. When Arrow started, he was always trying to get me to watch Arrow and stuff. He'd be like, "You gotta fucking watch Arrow. I used to write Green Arrow comics and shit." And I was like, "How is the show?" He goes, "Fucking awesome, man. This dude, Stephen Amell's amazing. You gotta see this shit. Look." He pulls out his iPad. Always has an iPad and a holster on him at all times and stuff, so he can watch his programs, pulls it out and fucking pulls up this scene, and he shows me a shirtless Stephen Amell doing this impossible exercise called the salmon ladder, where he's just like doing chin-ups but throwing the bar up in the air and catching himself and stuff like that. Something that I'm like, this must be done with CGI. And they're like, "No, you just have to be in shape." So I'm watching it, and he's all bare-chested and oily and sweaty and shit. And I was like, "What's this have to do with Green Arrow?" And he goes, "Oh, you want to see him shoot a fucking arrow, do you?" And he pulls up another clip, and he shows me a clip of fucking Stephen Amell shooting an arrow, also shirtless. So I was like, "I think you like this show for reasons you don't understand yet." And he goes, "Watch it with me." And I was like, that might cross the line right there. I was like, "No, you watch it. Let me know how it goes and stuff." And he did. He watched it forever, and then they introduced Flash in season 2. And he's like, "You gotta watch this shit now, man. They're doing Flash, and you fucking love Flash." And so he did. He got me. He hooked me, but not like by saying, "Watch the show." One night, I got this fucking call in the middle of the night. Jason Mewes called the house. And like I said, he lives near me, so he never calls. It's weird when he calls the house. Since he lives like around the block, he just pops in like Kramer and the adventure begins. You know, so I looked at the phone was ringing and I saw it was his name and stuff. I said, oh my God, something must be wrong. I picked up the phone. I was like, what's up? You all right? And he goes, turn on the fucking TV. Turn on the TV right now. And the last time he called screaming, turn on the TV was September 11th, 2001. So I got fucking scared and I was like, oh my God, are we under attack by ISIS again? And he goes, no, man, fucking King Shark is on Flash right now. And I was like, you fucking piece of shit. You almost gave me a heart attack. I thought ISIS had reached American shores. And he goes, who the fuck is she? I'm talking about Flash. I said, what do you mean King Shark's on Flash? He's like, he's on fucking Flash right now, man. Turn on the fucking TV. He's picking a Flash up out of the neck. Oh, you fucking missed it. It's over and shit. And I was like, how'd he look? He goes, you look fucking amazing. Now, for those of you that don't know who King Shark is, he's a DC supervillain, but he ain't like cool like the Joker or Lex Luthor. He's like way down the list. His whole gimmick is he's a shark that walks on land and wears pants. Like that's... It's goofy, and it works in the comic books because it's graphically interesting, but you would never try this shit in the real world because it would look stupid, but he was saying they tried it. So I was like, that's fucked up, man. I was like, I gotta see what it looks like. He goes, you go to Twitter, man, somebody screen capped it. I went to Twitter, and sure enough, there were pictures of fucking King Shark, and sure enough, it looked like legit. If you were ever gonna do a King Shark, it's like, that's it. Holy shit. I said, I can't believe they had the balls to fucking try this. I said, I thought you said this was a critically, like, revered show. He's like, all the critics love it. It's got the ratings, too. I was like, then why would they fucking risk that with King Shark? Like, oh my God, you've got to have a lot of confidence to rock King Shark. That's like 12-inch dick confidence, man. You know, to be in your second season, be like, zip, King Shark. Deal with it, you know, and have people stay around and shit. I was like, that's fucking impressive. I said, it looks good. I gotta give this shit a watch. Like, it really piqued my curiosity. I worked under the Smuckers logic. With a name like Smuckers, it must taste like pussy or whatever the fuck it is. Like, I was like, if they're doing King Shark, it must be fucking watchable and shit. So I kicked back and I downloaded the episode and I watched it, and god damn it if it wasn't fucking good. So I was like, I'm gonna try another episode. And I went back to the beginning and started watching all of The Flash in a binge watch. Went to my office and just started fucking watching. Got real roped up in it shit because it's all emotional and whatnot. And there was some shit is connected to Arrow that I didn't understand. So anytime I was lost, I'd pause it and I would text Jason and be like, hey man, they're talking about some island. What the fuck's this all about? And he'd be like, oh, that's where Ollie became the Green Arrow, let me tell you. And then he would send 9 fucking paragraphs of backstory. And at first I thought like, oh man, I bet you he's just pulling this shit off Wikipedia. But he wrote it himself. I know this because Arrow was spelled 12 different fucking ways throughout. So he'd tell me and I'd be like, I got it. And I'd go back to watching the show. And my wife would make fun of us and shit because this was going on for a few days. She was like, oh, look at you old ladies and your stories. She's like, what are Nikki and Victor up to this week and shit? I was like, fuck you, bitch, this is Flash. So I fell in love with the show big time, man. I got to the season finale of season 1, and they built an incredible season with season 1 of The Flash. And the season finale is one of my favorite hours of television ever produced and shit. Didn't know that until I watched it. Jason Mewes knew it was good. So Jason goes, you're almost at the fucking season finale. He goes, you gotta fucking record yourself watching it. I was like a reaction video? He goes, yeah, man, like the kids. You gotta be like a millennial, bitch. And I was like, why would I do that? He's going, because it's a really good episode. He's going, it's emotional. And you know me. He goes, I don't cry at anything. But I know you cry at everything. He goes, and I almost cried watching it, so it's gonna fucking tear you up, man. And I wanna see what that shit looks like. So I was like, okay. And so when I sat down and watched the episode, I set up my phone to record myself and shit. And you could see the video up online. I put it up on my website and stuff. Trimmed it. You don't have to watch the whole thing, but you watch me. Like, to say that I cry is like an understatement. Like, crying, I think of crying as like, you know, a Native American by the side of the road going, garbage. You know, like that's like a dignified solo tear and shit. This was just bawling, like fucking blubbering, like, ooh, my tits were going up and down. So fucking messy, snot running down my face, all over the fucking this show. And somebody like sent the link to my mother, I guess. And my mother called me up. She goes, Tiger, are you okay? And I was like, yeah, what's the matter? She's like, I saw you on a video on the internet and you were crying, you know? And I was like, Ma, which one, you know? Cried a lot of shit. And she goes, you were watching The Flash and the boy's mom died? And I said, oh, Ma, this show The Flash is so fucking good. I said, you gotta peep it out, man. It's really emotional. Yeah, it gets to me and stuff. And my mother goes, Jesus Christ, I just hope you cry that hard when I die. You know? So I was watching it and I was loving the shit out of it, and I kept bugging Jason. It became our little thing and stuff. And so Jason's wife, Jordan, runs our company. And she's the one that sends me places and stuff, puts movies together, shows together. So she was paying attention. She called me up one day and she goes, look, I see you keep texting with Jason about The Flash and you love it so much, and I saw that embarrassing crying video and stuff. She's going, so it's clear you like The Flash, so I hope this doesn't bug you, but I called up your agent and I said, hey, Kevin really likes this show, The Flash. Why don't you see if they'll let him direct an episode? And I was like, why the fuck did you do that? I said, oh my God, don't do that. That's so fucking embarrassing, man. I don't want no fucking handouts from the Shirtless Boy Network. Like, no. I was like, I'm content to watch that show. I was like, that's fucking embarrassing. Don't ever fucking do that again. She goes, calm down. They said, yeah. I was like, good fucking job, man. Oh my God. My wife is, I don't know how else to describe it. She's the most easily orgasmic human being I've ever met in my entire life. It does not take much. Some people are a lot of work. My wife is not a lot of work. I could be standing across the room, leaning on a wall, and she could be on the other side of the room on the bed, laying down, wearing, you know, a pair of sweatpants. And all I have to do is go. And by the time the fucking butterfly effect hits her crotch, she's like, oh. It's crazy, it's wonderful, man. It's fantastic. Like when we first met, that was one of the first things I learned about her and shit. And I was like, oh my God, she could come so fucking easily. I'll never work again. Like this is nuts. First time we were ever together, man. Like she rolled me on my back at one point, like I was trying to make the moves and shit. And she threw me on my back, got on top. She's like, I like it being on top. I was like, that's where you'll stay for the rest of our lives. That's still how we fuck to this day and shit. And unlike anyone else I'd ever had sex with, she was like going buck wild and shit like that. I was like fucking impressed with myself. I was like, is this shit me? She's like, fuck no, you know. It has nothing to do with me. It's not like I'm walking around going, I sling a magic dick, not at all. She's just like, I'm like basically a scratching post and she's a cat. And she just does shit, you know? And then fucks off and stuff like that. So because I learned early on in the relationship, she could crank out multiple orgasms. That had nothing to do with me. Again, she just needs a warm body and friction and shit like that. So since she could crank out a few, I was like, oh fuck, I'll try to hold out for as long as I can. Because I get one shot. I don't get like fucking 5 nuts to bust and shit. I get one, I'm 47, like one a week. So like, at the end of the day, man, I try to hold on to it because once it's over, it's over. I'm like Luke Skywalker bombing the Death Star. I'm like, ugh, you know. And that shit blows up and I take the fuck off, you know. Every once in a while, she's like, you want to fuck again? Like 5 minutes later, I'm like, yeah, man, Wednesday, let's do it. Like, I'll have built it up again and stuff. So I try to hold out for as long as I can because she seems to be enjoying herself because she can get a few fucking orgasms done. And when I say hold out as long as I can, mind you, this is literally about 4 to 6 minutes. She gets a lot done in that fucking time and whatnot. So, you know, I just hold out until she's like, will you fucking come already? You know, and then I'm like, it's my special time. So her experience is based on that. In her mind, the guy she's been with for like 20 years and shit, intimate in every fucking way, man. We've put it wherever you can put it on a human. We've done it to each other and shit. And we know each other's bodies insanely well. But at that certain point, man, it's just like something she didn't really know about me. I never fucking told her that I could come real fast. When I'm by myself, I come like a fucking pro, man. Like, real fucking fast and shit. I'm real good at it. Had years of practice and whatnot. So when she said, like, you could never come that fast, is based on empirical knowledge. But I was like, oh, no. I said, I know what you're thinking. I said, but I can come very fast. When I'm by myself, I come a very fucking fast. That doesn't count as cheating. Like, I swear, if you want to give it a shot, I could totally pull this off in under 5 minutes. And so she fucking takes her glass of wine, she fucking throws it back, she puts the glass down, she stands and she looks at me and she goes, lay down on that bed and pull down your jorts. Which really should have fucking turned me off, man. Like, but I was like, fuck it. And I ran over to the bed and fucking yanked my jorts down and just presented and shit. And there was nothing like romantic about it or sexy. She didn't put on any music or any shit like that. She just got to the fucking bed and like fucking got down and was just like, ugh. Because she'd been through it before. We've known each other 20 years. We've been doing shit to each other and stuff. So she's like, I know what this is gonna be. It's gonna take him forever. But she hadn't met her real husband, you know? And she was about to and shit like that. It was rote. It wasn't romantic. It was clinical. It was perfunctory. It was almost like the owl in the Tootsie Roll Pop commercial. Like, how many fucking licks is this gonna take, man? I was like, fucking 3, I assure you. So she went for it and fucking, it was not what she was expecting. And this is the sound that my good lady wife of 19 years, person I've been intimate with for 20 years, made when she found out who I really was hitting the back of her throat at 95 miles per hour. This was the sound. It was like I'd fucked Scooby-Doo in the mouth or something like that. So she fucking gets up, she runs into the bathroom, and I hear her go like, because she loves me, but not that fucking much, you know. Then she runs back in, she goes, what the fuck was that? I was like, I told you, man, like I come real fast when I'm by myself, when I'm really putting my mind to it and stuff like that. And she goes, Jesus Christ, Kevin. She's all sad when she goes, Jesus Christ, Kevin, if I'd have known that you could have come that fast our entire fucking lives together, I would have blown you every day. And I was like, it's never too late. My wife, God love her, man, we've been together last week. We met 20 years ago last week. We've been in each other's lives for 20 years. Thank you. Met 20 years ago last week. Next month, it'll be 20 years since the first time we fucked, and that's the more important anniversary and stuff. But we've been together for like 2 decades, man. And that's, you know, just to tell you that her reactions to my stories, it's not like everybody here where I'm like, you know, tell that story and everyone's like, oh, very witty, wild, you know. She's, you know, fucking seen it all, heard it all and shit like that. Like, my wife loves me, I know this, don't get me fucking wrong. Like, she would kill anybody that fucking threatened me and cut your jugular and shit. But she is not what I would call, by any stretch of the imagination, a Kevin Smith fan. Jay and Silent Bob, not her fucking thing or anything like that. She's like, I'm glad you do those movies. They let you run around and you get exercise. Like, that's... Case in point, man, we got this TV show called Comic Book Men. It's in its 7th season at this point. Thank you. Thank you. I don't tell you that like to be like 7 seasons, look at my big fat TV dick. Like, not at all. It has nothing to do with us. We follow one of the most watched programs on the planet, The Walking Dead. So if anything, it's fucking Robert Kirkman's big TV dick, and we just surf on it till midnight. You know? So I only tell you 7 seasons because communicate, there's like 80 some odd episodes of this show that you could watch, and I'm on every one of them. My wife has seen 2 of the episodes. She saw the pilot episode when we shot it, put it together. I showed it to her. I was like, what do you think? And her review was, I can't believe you tricked somebody into paying you to be on TV and talk to your fucking friends. Which I felt was like a very strong review. Then, like 4 seasons later, my daughter was on the show, Harley was on the show. So I told my wife, I was like, you gotta watch an episode now. Something came out of your bodies on the fucking show. So she watched the episode. I was like, what'd you think? And she goes, Harley was a vast improvement, you know. She keeps it very real. The show is on a night that we watch 2 other programs, like in our bedroom. We watch The Walking Dead, and then we watch The Talking Dead. And at the end of The Talking Dead, there's a fella look strangely like me who will pop up and be like, hey, stick around for more hijinks on Comic Book Men. And that's when my wife grabs the remote and goes, we're going to bed, and shuts that shit off. Now, I gotta tell you, this is gonna be weird, but I gotta tell you this story to tell you the rest of the story. And at first you're gonna be all judgy, and then I'm gonna tell you something and you'll be like, oh, that makes sense. I have a 103-inch television in my bedroom. That's not the judgy part. Here it comes. Cost 60,000 fucking bucks. Crazy, right? I didn't fucking buy it. I would never pay 60. Now you can't be judgy. I would never I didn't buy it. It was given to me, man. I would never pay $60,000 for a TV. I wouldn't pay $60,000 for anything unless you could live in it, drive it, or it fucking blew you until the day you died. Like that's... I got a line and shit like that. No, it was given to us at one point. I'd done commercials years ago for Panasonic. And there was a guy named Ed Janda who was like the exec at Panasonic who was on set all the time. And he loved movies, and he saw all mine. And so I said, hey man, next time we make a movie, just come hang out and watch it and be on the flick. And he wound up in the movies. If you ever saw Jersey Girl at the end of the movie, there's a scene where they do a Sweeney Todd number and they're done and nobody applauds. And then finally one guy applauds. That's Ed Janda, man. He's got a porn star mustache and shit like that. So, sweet fucking dude, man. I've known him for years and stuff. One day, he fucking called me. He'd been in my house many times. He called me out of the blue and he goes, hey man, we've got this 103-inch fucking television that we're gonna throw out, man. And I remember you've got big, wide walls and huge ceilings in your house. And I was like, what a weird fucking way to start a conversation. I said, what do all these things have to do with each other, man? And is that all our friendship was to you, square fucking footage? Like, and he goes, no, the reason I bring it together is this TV we're gonna fucking throw out is 103 inches, and it won't fit many places, but it'll definitely fit in your house. So if you want it, we're just gonna give it to you for free. Do you want it? And I was like, fuck yeah, give me all your garbage, yes! Fuck yes. I was like, what's wrong with it, man? Was it assembled on an ancient Indian burial ground? Is it cursed? Like, and he goes, no, they used it for the Olympics. It was for coverage for the Olympics, so it's not meant for home use. It's basically a big graphics TV where they'd point to like, this is what happened and shit like that. Problem is, it has no speakers, so you'd have to buy speakers. I was like, I'll buy the fucking speakers, man. For a free 103-inch television? Fuck the speakers. I'll stand next to it and translate for whoever's watching. Like, fuck yes, man. So he goes, okay, man, make sure you're gonna be home tomorrow. We can have it delivered. He's going, you gotta clear your street. And I said, why? And he goes, it comes on an 18-wheeler. I said, really? And he goes, yeah, it takes 10 people to deliver it. And I said, why? And he goes, the base alone weighs 2,000 pounds. So I was like, I don't believe this. And they showed up the next day with a giant fucking truck, pulled this thing out the back of it. It looked like the monolith from 2001, A Space Odyssey. 10 fucking people carrying it, man. They were like, where do you want it? And I was like, second floor, please. I felt bad, but I tipped insanely well. So, brought him up to my bedroom. They're like, where's it go? I said, put it right at the foot of our bed, please. And my wife was like, are you fucking high? I was like, yes, but that has nothing to do with this. This just makes sense. I was like, this is where the TV was. Look at this big wide wall. We'll put the fucking TV right there. She goes, Kevin, there's no room between the bed and the television. I was like, yes, there is. Look. She's going, what the fuck? How are we gonna live like this? How are we gonna sleep? I was like, we fucking slept enough, man. I was like, look at this thing. This is our God now. Like, so if you're in my bedroom and you're sitting on the edge of my bed and you're tying your shoes, you get up, you go 1, 2, you're on the fucking TV. So we have this massive TV in my bedroom, and I've never seen comic book men on it. So one night, I said that I wanted to watch it. Like, you know, tried to test the waters. And so I told my wife, I was like, hey man, I wanna watch comic book men on the big TV tonight for the first time. Like, that's cool, right? And she goes, oh, we don't watch that show in here. And I was like, I know, you know, which is weird because it pays for everything, but whatever. Like, but tonight's special, as it's the end of the 4th season, we just found out we're getting picked up for a 5th season. So I wanna like live tweet the show from in here. Normally I do it in my office, I watch it on a laptop. I was like, I'd love to watch it on the big TV. I want to live tweet, send pictures. And my wife's like, what do you mean pictures? And I was like, I don't wanna tell you because you're gonna fucking make fun of me and shit. And she's like, you have to tell me because I control the television. So I said, okay. I said, I've never seen my show on the TV, but the TV's fucking big. It's taller than me when I stand next to it. It's 103 inches wide, but it's fucking about 6'3" tall from the ground with the base. I was like, so when you see people on it, they look life-sized. And I've always wanted to like watch comic book men, and when I came on the screen, pause it, and then go stand next to myself. She goes, why? I'm like, to take a selfie, you know? And she looked at me with that fucking look of disdain, like, I can't believe I let you stick your fucking dick in me. She goes, no, you watch that in the office. And I was like, come on, man. Like, this is fucked up. Don't you think it's fucking crazy that, like, we're fucking this deep into a show that I'm on every episode of and you don't watch it? And she goes, why would I watch it? And I was like, I don't know, man. Like, because I'm on the show. And she goes, well, it's not like I'm in the Kevin Smith demographic. Now, am I? And I said, you fuck Kevin Smith. If you're not in the demographic, it's in you from time to time.